Standing next to such a tree makes me want to think, meditate, and look at it in admiration. Unfortunately, this very forest has already been condemned. This small poll tells us in 2008 there will be a clear felling on this site. The area size is 5.6 hectares, 67th compartment, 10th allotment. This forest will soon be gone. You and I are looking at it for the last time. And this is the territory of the future National Nature Park Slobozhansky. There is no doubt that this area would be cut down sooner than the park creation will ever begin to happen. If we look at what is happening here from the professional viewpoint, it becomes clear that what we are witnessing is a crime. Such a huge new cutting area of 5.6 hectares cannot be joined with the 5-year-old pines area. The final harvest cannot be situated like this. What's more, by law, the maximum size of the final harvest area is not to exceed 5 hectares. Looks like it's time we remember the words of our scientists again.
You may ban final harvesting. The foresters will call it the forest renewal felling or clear sanitary felling, and they will be right to do so.
This is just the course of action the foresters are following now. The felling that they plan to conduct in this area is formally a clear sanitary felling. But in this case, we should be seeing the forest that is dead, and most trees should be drying. But where are the signs of the forest pathologist research? Here they are. But let's take a more careful look. This mark means that the tree condition was evaluated as belonging to the 5th category. According to the sanitary rules in the forests of Ukraine, the 5th category means recent snag. The needles should be gray, yellow or reddish-brown. The trees would be partially shedding needles and bark. Do you see this happening? I don't either. If a clear sanitary felling is scheduled to take place, there should be an act with the signatures of every commission member who considers these trees to be fresh dead wood, with the needles of any color other than green. A year after this forest gets stolen, nobody will be able to say what was here. One would have to trust the documents, stating that there was a total drying of trees. Therefore, the foresters acted as heroes, cutting down the forest just in time to prevent the ill trees from rotting. Now you understand why such straight and smooth tree trunks are marked as semi-commercial timber or fieldwood. When a clear sanitary felling is conducted, there cannot be any industrial wood. The foresters are left with the only option: stealing. To be more exact, their option is selling the snags for the price of the commercial timber, getting cash in return for sure. Recent snags marked as fieldwood again. These people truly are impudent bastards. Dear Mr. Prince, you should remember the chief forester of the Gute Forestry Enterprise, who asked you for 2,000 euros for working clothes.
I apologize for asking, but could you help us financially? 2,000 euros, if it is possible. I'm not insisting, of course. Besides, we have a bill for 23,000, but I understand that it's a lot. Just whatever part you can cover, so that we could purchase the items that we agreed on at our first meeting. Working clothes, the Husqvarna company, where the clothes are of a decent quality, the trousers are not cut through easily, etc. If it is possible, of course. We wrote it down here. We also have the bill.
It may be hard to believe that these people can steal so much. Of course, they're not the only ones though. What about the forest pathologist who claimed that the perfectly healthy forest was actually recent dead wood? What about Mr. Popov's zealous defending of the felons in the National Natural Park Gamolsha Lesa? Do you suppose he was worried about the Kharkiv Regional Forestry Administration indexes? I genuinely feel pity that it has to be this way. These branchy pines surround a small lake where life literally boils. The shores are covered with a thick layer of the reserved bog moss. The neighboring lake, just 300 meters away from the first one, is home to the family of beavers who have already started to renovate their house, getting ready for the severe winter. Even though the year was droughty, water remained at the bottom of this little lake. Soon, the autumn rains will fill it completely, bringing the new ray of hope to all its inhabitants. But not for long. In a year, everything will be just like we have already seen. The pines will simply disappear on the horizon. If we look at the map of the forest compartments, we will see that the area of 5.6 hectares, which is planned for felling in 2008 in the 67th compartment, is joined to the lunar landscapes of the 52nd and 53rd compartments of Volodymyrovka Dacha Wildlife Reserve. And this is what was meant to be the heart of Slobozhansky Park just some years ago. And while we lead the philosophical discussions, talk about the nature conservation, about biodiversity, international conventions, and generally about the forest being a national treasure, this national treasure is moving away somewhere, just 300 meters away from where we are. And it seems that the botanists, who claim that plants are not capable of moving actively, are totally wrong. They can move, with the help of our foresters, and they manage to do it pretty actively. This is how the National Slobozhansky Park, that hasn't even been created yet, is being moved away from the Kharkiv region. It seems weird. The park is so proud, mighty and beautiful. It doesn't seem to want to give up. And then, in an instant, it disappears in someone's pocket. However, according to Deputy Head of the Regional Forest Administration, Mr. Popov, little wood is felled in the Kharkiv region.
If we take into account the international experience, say in the countries of Western Europe, such as Austria, France, Germany, we will find out about the use of annual increment index. Use of annual increments are those cubic meters of wood that grow on the 1 hectare area in 1 year's period. The average index in our region is about 3.6 cubic meters. Nowadays, the businesses of the region, I mean the 299,000 hectares managed by our enterprise, not the whole forest-covered area of 419 hectares, are using approximately 60% of this annual increment. At the same time, in the countries that I mentioned, the annual increment is used at about 70–80% rate. So, the people are using the forest resources that are available. I think they know what they are doing, and at the same time, they have reserved areas and areas for recreational activity. Their attitude to this is what can be called efficient. This index characterizes how the resources that nature gives us are exploited. At the same time, they save the natural potential that they have. So, saying that the forests are being totally destroyed would not be correct.
According to Mr. Popov, less forests are felled in the Kharkiv region than in some European countries, such as Austria and France. Mr. Prince, it would be very desirable to have your expertise regarding this information, because anything can be irresponsibly said in this country to justify the endless tree cutting. So doesn't anybody in that country care about what's going on, you may ask? Doesn't anyone know all these facts? Sure they do, I would reply.